Hello and welcome back to Higher Sense with Haz. And today's review is going to be Tygar by Bvlgari. Tygar by Bvlgari was a 2016 release, a summery type of fragrance. So here it is in its presentation. Now, as you can see on the front there, it's got the name of the house on the top, the line that it's from, which is Le Gem, which is the gemstones line, and then the name of the fragrance down there, which is Tygar. So we'll remove this slipcase, and that reveals the box. Pretty standard box here, and inside should be the fragrance. As you can see at the bottom, it's got the details of the fragrance on there. This on the neck, it's got the name of the house, and then on the bottom it's got the relevant information. 125ml, 79% volume, which means it's 21% oil, which is okay. It is an eau de parfum, and on the top you've got the lovely gemstone there. Bvlgari describe it as a journey through Kerala, which is known as the Spice Garden of India and home to the magnetic Tiger's Eye gemstone. Its optical effects with yellow and brown stripes fascinated ancient civilizations. For them, the tiger's eye, which is from the Latin tigris, was the gemstone that sees everything. It connects man to the earth and sun's energy, giving him mental strength and intuition. So as you can see, the gemstone is lovely and it does resemble a tiger's fur. Bvlgari Le Gem Tygar is a fragrance with incomparable brightness and a very strong personality, built around accords of fresh bursting grapefruit and deep, sophisticated ambergris. It captures the duality and exceptional energy of Tiger's Eye. The first impression and impact is surprising, the base is dense, but contains light and energy. So there's the description of what we've got here. So from what they're saying, it's going to be a light, bright, invigorating, energetic type of fragrance. So there's the bottle. Let's go on and have a quick run through the notes. So the notes in Tygar by Bvlgari are as follows. In the top, we've got one note, and that is grapefruit. Then in the mid, we've got ginger and ambrette. And then in the base, we've got ambroxan, musk, vetiver and patchouli. So that's a 7-note pyramid, 1 in the top, 2 in the mid, and then 4 in the base. A simple amount of notes, but some good looking notes in there. One which when I did look at the profile, I thought, yep, that suits something which I'd be interested in. Your kind of energetic summer freshie, and with it coming into the strength of summer now, I thought it would be an ideal time to wear this and to review it. We'll have a look at the cap. It is magnetic. That's fantastic. Clicks into place just there. The gemstone on the top, which we've already looked at. So let's give this atomizer a good blast. Good atomizer there for me. 2 in the air, 2 on the hand. Let's let it air out a bit and see if this Tygar has the power that it promises. So immediately off the top, you hit with a very zingy grapefruit. It's quite apparent and in your face. That's what you get off the initial blast. It's a zingy, full-bodied, juicy grapefruit. And then you get the touches of the ginger coming through there. There's definitely a nice warmth in that. And the ginger gives it that edge, that little bit of spice. And then you get the ambrette, which gives it almost a kind of a clean, slightly musky feel. Immediately, you get brightness. The immediate colour, I think, is yellow. I think of the juicy grapefruit, the warm, spicy ginger, and the slight bit of musk, which just encapsulates everything here. But it is energetic off the bat. So certainly, so far as a summer freshie goes, that's what you're getting off this. It's not subtle. It very much is what it says on the tin. It's a bright, energetic, invigorating blast. So having worn this for a number of days in decent heat, I can report that the top, the grapefruit and the ginger and the sweetness from the ambrette, it does last pretty much throughout the fragrance, but the grapefruit is most apparent for the first hour or so. And then when the edge comes off that, you get the warm, spicy, edgy ginger with the sweet musky ambrette which comes through and kind of takes over from the main grapefruit, because the grapefruit off the top, it's bright, it's zingy, it's juicy, it's almost dripping. But then as the ginger and ambrette comes through, God, I'm getting tongue twisted from all of this, it calms the top down, it soothes it a bit, and it gives it a nice warmth, and it gives it a nice rounded edge. It's not screechy. I don't think it's synthetic, even though I've read reviews where people say, it's very synthetic. I don't necessarily think it's overly synthetic. It's nice, it's bright, it's energetic, and it's well-rounded. It's not the smoothest of blends, but then again, I think you get a lot of invigoration from the blast that you get off this, and it jolts you. It gives you that pump, that buzz when you smell it. It gets you up and going, almost like a Duracell battery kind of thing. It's like a jump start on your body, and it's a great opening, and the mid complements the top very well. And then coming through in the base, and the base comes through at maybe the 3-hour mark, I would say. You get the ambroxan, you've got some musk, you've got some vetiver, and you've got some patchouli. Now for me, the ambroxan is quite apparent in this, and it is a dry, kind of musky, amber smell. Now that gives it, again, some warmth in this, and it gives it a nice roundness in the base. Now the patchouli and the vetiver, it's not necessarily green. It's more of a fresh vetiver, almost like a slightly grassy kind of vetiver with a touch of green there, but it's not necessarily earthy, so to speak. So you get the patchouli, which is a more kind of a dry patchouli, slightly green, and the same with the vetiver. You get almost like a grassy as opposed to kind of earthy undertone in this, which is great. So you've got the juiciness up the top, you've got the warmth and the spice in the mid, and then in the base you've got the warm, ambery, grassy, slightly green undertone, which everything else just kind of sits nicely upon. And the base, it carries the fragrance, but it doesn't overpower it. It's not a linear fragrance, it does change a bit, and the other elements which come through, the kind of poke through the other notes, they give it a little twist, they give it another little edge, because remember, there's only 7 notes in here, so there's only so much you can do. But what is great is most of the notes in here you can pick out through the life of the fragrance, which is awesome. Now, a lot of people have compared Tygar by Bvlgari to other summer freshies and fragrances. Most notably, I've heard it being compared to L'Immensité by Louis Vuitton. There's also a dupe of this, I think it's by Afnan, called Blue Turathi, which I have tried, and it is a good dupe and a decent alternative, although it is more synthetic than this. And the other fragrance which is being compared to it is by Suspiro, and it's called Vibrato, which is quite a hype beast in the social media fronts. And I have tried that fragrance as well, and I would say that L'Immensité, Vibrato, and this fragrance share a very similar DNA. It is the summer freshy, the bright, zingy kind of undertone. But for me, out of the 3, the best smelling fragrance, not taking price and performance and other things into consideration, I would say Tygar is the best smelling of the 3. I think it's the most energetic, it's the brightest, and for me, overall, if I'm wearing something in the heat and I'm going out to have a great sociable day down the beach, or meeting my friends to have a few little cocktails and a few blue wickeds and things like that, I would want to wear this fragrance out of the 3, because it brings me to life more than the others. I think it's got more character personally. It's got more character and it's got more energy. So let's have a look at the very controversial performance of this. Now, I've read a lot of reviews that say that this fragrance doesn't perform. Some people say that it doesn't project. Some people say that it doesn't last. Now, I don't know if it's just people who are hating on the price tag of this. Now, what you've got to remember is Bvlgari are a designer brand, essentially. Now, this is their top line, so this is their premium designer line. Now, the price for this, 125 millilitres, is £355. So that's putting this in quick maths, maybe around the £2.85 mark per milliliter. I'm sure that the editor will be able to put the exact price on your screen now per milliliter, but it is just under £3 per milliliter, which certainly puts this towards the niche end of fragrances. It is expensive, so it has to deliver. Now, looking at the performance of this, I've worn this for a number of days. I've worn it on skin, I've worn it on clothing, and I've worn it in moderate temperatures, warm temperatures, and a particularly hot day. And I'm happy to say, for me, this beauty performs. Now, it performs in the sense of it's a summer freshie. So I got projection of a couple of feet. It's not a monstrous projector, but it's best when you're moving around. So if you're sat in one spot, yes, it'll create a nice sillage around you, but it's not going to get in anyone's face, which has its positives and negatives. Now, if you're moving around, if you're socializing and you're walking about to and from the bar, or you're doing other social activities, or you're walking down the beach, that's where this really shines, because when you're moving, it creates a lovely scent trail behind you. Now, I've walked past a few people before who I'm sure were wearing this fragrance, and when I walked past them and I got a waft of it, it was divine. It smelled gorgeous in the air. So for me, if you're moving around, then that's where this works best. Also, I found the hotter it is, the better this performs, which might sound a bit odd because you think, well, as things heat up, it's going to burn off quicker and the longevity is going to be affected. Well, I didn't necessarily get that. What I got is when the sun was directly on us and it was low to mid 20s, and I found I was moving around and my body was heating up, this was responding to that. So for me, Tygar almost acts like the tiger in the long grass that's on the hunt. It's sitting and it's watching what goes on. You know it's there, but it's not obviously apparent. It's hiding in the long grass. And then as the heat comes, or you start moving around, the prey to the tiger, as you start moving, the tiger moves towards you. And then when it's close enough, it strikes. So when you're in close proximity to someone and the heat is on, that's when the tiger makes itself apparent and it lets you know that it's there. So yeah, for me, it does perform. You can smell it when you walk past people and you can smell it in a fairly intimate vicinity. Now, I got projection of a couple of feet with this, and the hotter it was, the more it boomed off my skin. And at one point, it was really lifting off my skin, which was fantastic. And it was at least 2.5 feet. Now, the longevity on this, for me, if I can get a summer freshie to perform for 6 hours, that's great. I look for 5 to 6 hours. And I'm happy to say that on my skin, and I don't have the best skin, this got to the 6 hour mark fairly comfortably. No less than 5.5, 6 hours, no more than 7.5 hours at a push. And that was on around 6 to 8 sprays, because with things like this, I have to overspray slightly. But I would say you'd get to the 6 hour mark on this eau de parfum on 5 to 6 sprays. I'm confident of seeing that. Now, a lot of people have spoke about other things like reformulations in batches and this, that, and the other. I don't know if this has been reformulated. I think this is a 2022 bottle. So it's not old, but it's not brand new. So it's had time to sit and mature and macerate and all that business. And I've used a bit of it to get some oxygen in there. But for me, this batch anyway, 2022, performs just fine. It performs to the level that I'd like from a summer freshie. It surpasses the minimum and it gets to where I want to be. So for me, performance on Tygar, it's just not an issue. So here it is. are going to hate. Where to wear Tygar? Now, like I've discussed, I would wear it when I'm doing socials. Daily socials, evening socials, on holiday, in the gym. Now, I wouldn't necessarily recommend wearing things to the gym. Do it at very light sprays, because at the end of the day, when you're in the gym and you're getting a bit hot and sweaty, you might want to wear something just pleasant. Just pleasant. Now, if you stink, you want to get yourself in the shower, because remember, sweat doesn't smell. But when bacteria grows on sweat, that's when you get the smell. So if anybody's stinking, it's because they haven't been washed in a while. But anyway, I digress. So yes, wear light sprays of this to the gym, and it'll give people a nice pleasant waft. And I mean, that's what you want at the end of the day, don't you? You know, the types at the gym when you walk past and they just absolutely reek. You don't want that. So hey, if you can give someone a nice little zingy uplift in the gym, fantastic. Might help them to get that extra rep or two, you know what I mean? But anyway, where was I? I've totally lost my train of thought. Yes, so daily socials, evening socials, on holiday, down the beach, when you're out walking, when you're socialising, and in the gym. That will be perfect for this fragrance. What seasons to wear this? It has to be summer. I don't really think you can wear it in the autumn, and I definitely wouldn't wear it in the winter, because it just hasn't got the punch to carry itself, and it probably wouldn't get the longevity then for that reason. You could wear it in the late spring when it warms up, but for me, this is definitely a summer fragrance. Wear this in the summer and wear it with pride, because Tygar, for me, delivers. Now, what interested me about this fragrance is there's been a number of comparisons to other fragrances, and that's fine. And a lot of people that I've read in reviews and a few people that I've spoken to have said, 355 quid for 125ml, that's very expensive. And yes, it is. Certainly not cheap, and it's on the expensive side. And a lot of people say it's not worth the money. Now, what is the money? Your money, my money, other people's money. It's all different. It's all relative. Now, if you've got stacks in the bank and you've got a great job, 355 quid to you, you might think, hey, that's affordable for me and it's not a problem. Now, on higher sense, I want to give people an honest review of the fragrance, but also in relation to the price and the performance, obviously. Now, as you may or may not know, when I was younger, I grew up on a council estate. Went to your bog standard school. Was always, getting bullied in fights and all this kind of thing. Growing up, my parents had run-of-the-mill jobs. They both worked 40 hours a week. My dad worked away from home most of the time, but they worked all the overtime God sends. And that was so I didn't go without. Now, when I grew up, I always had the best trainers, nice clothes, computer games, and I wanted for nothing, which I didn't appreciate at the time, but I do now. And I've made sure that my parents know that I care, know that I appreciated it, obviously that I love them daily, and also, I've got them certain things, whether it be, gifts or little trips or things here and there, just to repay what they gave me financially and the love and the time when I was growing up. And I'll never forget that. So I do have an appreciation for money. I don't want anyone sitting there thinking, oh, well, he's got all these high-end fragrances, he must have stacks of cash. That's not the case. I mean, I've got a decent job and I'm all right with money, so I've got money in the bank. This is one of my hobbies. I don't mind spending money on fragrance, but I do appreciate the value of money, so don't forget that. So for me, £355 for 125ml, in my opinion, if it was me buying it, I would pay that for this fragrance, and I do think it's worth it. I think the scent is simplistic but excellent, and there's quite a bit to it. I think the performance is good. It performs as it should. I think the presentation's nice. The gemstone and the nice sleek black bottle, that'll look great on a display, and it's got a magnetic cap. So that's an automatic winner in my opinion. But when you look at everyday Joe, somebody with a standard job from a standard financial background, 90% of the population, if they liked fragrances and they were in this hobby and they were thinking, I want to buy a special fragrance, I want to buy one really good fragrance for the summer, And that's why some of you may be watching this channel, because, you know, you might not want to waste your hard-earned on a blind buy or hype from all those on social media, which I'm certainly not one of them. And you might be thinking, I want to know an honest opinion on this fragrance before I spend my hard-earned money on it, because I don't want to be disappointed. And if I blind bought this and I wasted my money, I'd be pissed off as well. So I've got to appreciate that. Now, personally, can I recommend Bvlgari's Tygar to you? Yes, I can. I think if you bought this for the money and you wore it in the circumstances and seasons I've described, I don't think you'll be disappointed. More to the point, I think you'll be very pleased with it. I think it'll be a good purchase for your collection. 125ml is plenty. That'll last a long time. So albeit, you know, it's nearly £3 per milliliter, you will get quite a good amount of use out of this. I mean, even if you put 10 sprays on, which you don't need, but let's say for argument's sake, 10 sprays, that's 125 wearings of this. Now, that would mean you'd have to wear it every day for 4 months, which you're not going to do, are you? So if you think about it, if summer's 3 months and you wore it every 2 to 3 days, you get 3 years use out of this, maybe even 4. Now, for me, that's decent, isn't it? Because you've got other fragrances in your collection as well, which it uses everyday wears. But for me, Tygar by Bvlgari is a bit special. It's got the niche quality in here, even though it's a designer brand. It's got the scent, it's got some performance, and it's got the class. It's a great summer scent. It's a great, fresh, energetic, invigorating scent. It really is. So all of those that are hating on this, I think it might be down to the price tag, to be honest, because for me, the overall package of this is fantastic. Looks good, smells good, performs well. What's to dislike? Tygar by Bvlgari. It is that strong alpha male type fragrance. It is that predator that's waiting to strike. It's the kind of fragrance that shows its teeth, sinks them in, and it delivers. For me, it's unforgettable. Get your nose on this. This is an excellent release, especially for the summer.